She was only 25 years old when she became the Queen of the United Kingdom and 7 independent Commonwealth countries. She was in Kenya at the time when her father King George VI died. Today, the current president of Kenya, President William Samoei Ruto, joined other congregants and mourners to attend the final journey of Queen Elizabeth II. Born on 21st of April 1926, and she became the Queen on 6th of February 1952. She reigned for more than 70 years, making her the longest serving monarch in British history. Today, the 19th of September 2022, marks the final journey of Queen Elizabeth II as the whole country and the world at large watches as we lay to rest the Queen, not just of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth countries, but the Queen of the world. The Queen's coffin has been lying in state since Wednesday, 14th of September, and began the procession on the state gun carriage of the Royal Navy from the Palace of Westminster this morning. The state funeral took place at the Westminster Abbey, and it was covered live across all TV stations in the United Kingdom and around the world. YouTube channels, radio stations, all covered this big event as people around the world got the opportunity to mourn and to say the final goodbye to Queen Elizabeth II.
gather from across the nation, from the Commonwealth, and from the nations of the world, to mourn our loss, to remember her long life of selfless service, and in sure confidence to commit her to the mercy of God, our Maker and Redeemer.
In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself.
From a song of Vera Lynn. We can all share the Queen's hope, which in life and death inspired her servant leadership.
After the church service, the state gun carriage of the Royal Navy waits to receive the coffin of Queen Elizabeth II and take her around the streets of London, where members of the public will get opportunity to witness and to say goodbye to their monarch. A state funeral that has not been witnessed since the death of Sir Winston Churchill back in 1965. The state gun carriage will be pulled by 96 Royal Navy sailors, with a further 40 marching behind, acting as brakes. The state funeral was attended by more than 2,000 head of state and overseas government representatives, including foreign royal families, governors, generals, prime ministers, presidents around the world, and many dignitaries that were invited. Among those who were invited was almost 200 people who were recognized in the Queen's birthday honors earlier this year, and also those who made extraordinary contributions during the response of the COVID-19 pandemic and have volunteered in their local communities. Joining the Royal Navy sailors for the procession will also be detachments from the armed forces of the Commonwealth, as well as detachments of the British Armed Forces who held a special relationship with the Queen. The Queen's coffin has now been placed on the state gun carriage of the Royal Navy, and it is getting ready to take on to the streets of London, where members of the public will be given an opportunity to say goodbye to their Queen. This is a moment that many people will live to remember. History in the making, as people across the United Kingdom witness this momentous day, which will be remembered for many days to come after today. The procession again is taking onto the streets of London as members of the public get the opportunity to say their final goodbye to their Queen. Behind the procession is the King and members of the royal family and the King's household, marching across the street of London as many people watched. After marching the streets of London, the coffin was then taken by the state hearse on the way to Windsor Castle, where the Queen was laid to rest. The castle that was her home, and again along the streets, people watched from houses, from the streets. They all came out in large numbers to witness and to pay their last respect. The Queen was loved in the United Kingdom and outside the United Kingdom. She touched many hearts, and it is no wonder many people wanted to come out and pay their last respect to the loving Queen Elizabeth II. The hearse again is on its way to Windsor Castle, a place where the Queen called home. This is going to be her final resting place at St. George's Chapel, Windsor. And she is going to be buried alongside her late husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip. Her father, her mother, and her sister have also been buried in the same place. This is the street that leads onto Windsor Castle. And again, members of the public have come out in large numbers to bid farewell to the Queen that was not just Queen of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth, but Queen of the world. People have thrown flowers on the hearse as a sign of respect and as a sign of saying goodbye. The state hearse here is slowing down so that the procession can be formed up on Albert Road to travel via the long walk to St. George's Chapel. And again, members of the royal family will join the procession in the quadrilateral at Windsor Castle. So there's going to be a long walk to St. George's Chapel as the procession takes the Queen to her final resting place. Thousands and thousands of people came out to witness and to bid their final goodbye on this last journey of Queen Elizabeth II. Many people have never seen a king. They have only ever lived to see a queen. It will take many years before the UK can have another queen. So this is a historical moment, one that many people have come out to witness the final journey for the longest serving monarch of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth countries. Today marks the end of an era and the beginning of a new one, a moment that many who have witnessed will live to remember for many years to come, a history in the making in the United Kingdom, watched across the world. So this is Windsor Castle, where the Queen spent a lot of time. She lived here and she called this place home. Members of the royal family, the king and his household, waiting to receive the Queen and follow the procession in King George's Chapel, where the Queen is going to be buried alongside her late husband, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, her mother, the Queen Mother, her father, King George the Sixth, and her sister, Princess Margaret. They all lay in the chapel, King George the Sixth Chapel, and today Queen Elizabeth II joins her loved family members as we all witness her final journey on earth. A momentous day in UK history as Britain says goodbye to their Queen. The longest reigning monarch takes on her final journey in King George's Chapel at Windsor. King Charles III putting the Queen's company camp color on her coffin at St. George's Chapel, bidding goodbye to his mother and to the Queen. Breaking of that stick signifies the end of an era, the end of the Queen's reign.
And the place thereof shall know it no more. But the merciful goodness of the Lord endureth for ever and ever upon them that fear him, and his righteousness upon children's children hath pleased Almighty God to take out of this transitory life unto his divine mercy the late, most high, most mighty, and most excellent monarch, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of her other realms and territories, Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith, and sovereign of the most noble.
The Queen's coffin has been lowered in the royal vault, the end of an era and the beginning of a new one.